maybe you brought up the best word, discipline. Disciplined shooter, disciplined defender, disciplined rebounder, getting more disciplined in everything he's done. Probably, I think my staff would agree, he's probably spent the most time here. And I was watching a game last night with Baylor, and they were talking about one of their players who was a Division III player 2 years ago, and they just said how much time he spends in the gym. And it's such a understated, I mean, we all brag about it one way or another, and when you do that means you're insulting somebody else, but some kids are self-motivated, some people are self-motivated, and they take their job and they put everything into their job, and some don't. And he's been one since the day he got here, has been a worker. He's got to learn to watch more film. That's the next step, because if he watches more film, he'll process things a little easier. His basketball IQ isn't as high as those other guys, but he's kind of growing into it, and he's got some toughness to him. He's got length, he's got athleticism, and winning is important, and playing well is important. So I love Gabe Drummond. He's just one of those guys that get frustrated with a couple of mental mistakes here, forgetting to do this there, but I always know that his heart's in the right place, so it's easy to coach Gabe. She needs a... I'm sorry.
Going down to Bloomington, I know that in your 25th year, I remember way back when it was, Bob Knight being the dean of the coaches at that point. If you kept in touch with him over the past few years, and especially since he moved back to Bloomington?
I haven't been in touch with him like on the phone and that, but when I see him, Bob's always been great to me. He was great to me. The first day I got the job, he called me. He was, to this day, I think, the time we beat him, and called me in and told me that we have a chance to win the national championship. Will go down as one of my favorite Bob Knight stories, because he also told me how to deal with all you guys and how to help the players deal with you and how to stay focused on the task. And really, and he had a good team then too, but him and Jed were good friends, and I consider Bob Knight not a great friend like that, because I don't get to spend as much time with him, but a guy that I've always and still do respect, and I think he respected our program, and that meant more to me than anything else, because I value his opinion on things a lot, and I'm glad he's back. I like everyone else, I think in sports, I still hope that someday they can mend that wound, because the building should be named after him, the town should be named after him, the floor should be named after him. What he did for basketball, both at Indiana in the Big Ten, his records I don't think will ever be broken, and so for that I'm still a big Bob Knight fan.
This was my original question, but going off that a little bit, what do you then admire, what did you admire about his coaching style? I mean, I'm sure it's a pretty good idea of what you liked, but what about his coaching style?
Yeah, I appreciated that he both had the strength and courage to throw a chair. I didn't do that. But no, I just like that what he stood for to me was right. Was it always handled perfectly? People say I don't handle it perfectly, but I think, I still think for the most part, and this is what I always get a kick out of with any of us, is those players were Bob Knight guys for life. And, still it's the Quinn Buckners of the world that, still feel the same. I talked to Isaiah Thomas when he was here for the Piston thing. And, there is an appreciation. I mean, when they still call him Coach, it isn't even Coach Knight. Coach kind of says it all. Like, he's the one guy they can call Coach. And I respect that. I respect what he stood for with academics. I respected what he stood for in how he handled the NABC and all the things early on in his career. And I respected that he got frustrated on some things. I really do respect that, because I do the same thing. And we don't always handle it exactly the right way, and I don't know if he did, and I don't know if I do, but I still think that we're making a big mistake if accountability isn't the biggest thing that we all have to deal with, you know. And I think there was accountability, and I respect that a lot.